You all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Donald Trump's slew of executive orders is already taking effect across the U.S.
For what? Because I told you to.
Are police like addicted to IDs?
Get out
Is that the thing?
Get out of the car. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Now. Put your hands behind your back.
Calm this ignorant ass nigga. What are you paranoid about?
What's good, Money Train gang? We back on the tracks, fully loaded with a boxcar full of cash.
We still at it.
So pull up your cams, push your record button, and follow me.
Follow you. This
Let's go see.
Man, this nigga here crazy than a motherfucker, man.
A man in Galveston is demanding the UTMB Police Department be held accountable after he says officers sicked a canine on him in a case of mistaken identity. They thought he was an escaped inmate when he was actually a patient who had just been treated. Matt Doherty shows us the incident, which was caught on camera, and the federal lawsuit that could come of all of this. Matt?
Ironically, the man had voluntarily checked himself into the hospital because he imagined police were trying to kill him. After he was released, he says that nearly happened. This is video from a surveillance camera outside of UTMB Hospital in Galveston. The date is May the 8th. Jeremy Cummins, who you see walking here, has just been released from the hospital. As he's leaving, UTMB police pull up. They believe Cummins is an escaped inmate.
He's telling them, I am not an escaped inmate.
But officers continue to pursue him. Then they release the canine. Jeremy Cummins says he knew the worst thing he could do is run.
Everybody knows that if you're an escaped inmate, they got the right to shoot you on sight, especially if you run. Everybody know that.
And you didn't run.
I didn't run. I have mental problems, but I'm not crazy.
The canine bites Cummins multiple times before he's tackled to the ground by officers and handcuffed.
I'm not no inmate, man. We got him in custody.
Soon after that, a Texas Department of Criminal Justice officer walks up.
Ask you where you come from and you took out.
Man, I don't even know you. I need to talk to you for.
That's fine.
What I gotta report? I ain't in jail. You gotta have to ask me nothing.
Okay, that's fine.
In a second body camera video from a UTMB police officer, he admits they made a mistake.
You ready to hear this?
Yeah.
Okay. So TDC sees this guy in scrubs and wearing like a towel or a blanket. They think it's one of theirs. They go after him thinking it's a prison break. It ain't nobody that just somebody who just left the ER.
And even after all of that, Jeremy Cummins, who was just walking home after he was released from the hospital, was taken to jail.
They charged him with evading arrest.
Those charges were ultimately dropped. The UTMB Police Department would not comment on the incident. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice sent us this statement. They say a correctional officer saw a UTMB patient walking suspiciously toward the prison side of the hospital, and they told police. Now Cummins and his attorney are seeking damages from the hospital's police department and an apology.
They made a mistake. They don't pay.
In West Houston, I'm Matt Doherty, KHOU 11 News.
Wow. Well, salute Texas. The great state of Texas has somehow managed to set the stage for yet another major $1 million lawsuit. And you know, the narration of the news never cease to amaze me. Mainstream media pushes out the narrative that this is somehow a mix-up or a case of mistaking identity. Turns out it's neither one, says the officer who was speaking to, who I'm assuming is the supervisor. Instead, the facts of the matter are pretty damn clear. We have a guy who checks himself into the hospital, paranoid, thinking that the police are out to harm him. And after receiving treatment, the guy was discharged. He gathers his belongings, he exits the hospital, and I'm assuming he walks down the sidewalk. And as he's continuing about his business, he encounters a female correctional officer. And for those of you who are not familiar or have not dealt with correctional officers, let me tell you, they're about 20 times as entitled, as arrogant, and as excessive as police officers. So for this lady, it's just another day on the job for this officer. Just another day at work. And while being proactive on the job, she comes in contact with this soon-to-be well-to-do fella, a citizen. Now, he was black. He was wearing a smock. He was near a penal facility that, for some reason, is set aside of a hospital. And the only reasons why those buildings sit beside each other like that, if you ask me, is because that correctional facility is probably issuing out a bunch of ass whoopings. And the hospital is conveniently stationed next door for swift intake. You know, just in case they get a little bit too excessive. But anyway, this entitled pig comes across this guy, asks this guy, where is he going? The guy says, nothing to this pig, and continues on his way. Well, because this female officer did not receive the attention that she solicited, she put out a full-fledged be on the lookout for an escaped inmate. I mean, clearly, there's nothing here to support her suspicion of an escaped inmate. Nothing. There's a hospital next door. And I'm pretty damn sure that those Department of Correctional inmates don't wear the same exact smock as the hospital. And I'm sure that when one of those inmates are taken to this hospital, that they do not wear a hospital smock. And even if they did, they would be handcuffed to the bed, meaning they would have to take the whole damn bed with them. So it boils down to this man not wanting, first of all, to even talk to the police. He don't even, man, from judging from what he said, he don't even want to be around nowhere near police. So he did what anybody does who's afraid of the police. And he took off running from her. Well, when the video appears, when they appear in the video, the guy is walking. He's not running. He's walking. Got a nervous strut going on, but he walking. You see the front end of a sheriff department's vehicle or correctional officer vehicle pull up, and then you see multiple officers come into the frame. One officer releases a canine. The dog takes after the suspect. The suspect stops dead in his tracks, and the dog bypasses him. Yeah, Scooby said, man, it's no action here. This guy ain't even running. But for some reason, the officer, the news says, tackled the guy. That wasn't a tackle, by the way. That was a body slam. So they slams this guy onto the pavement. The dog then attacks the guy. And then these idiot-ass police find out that this is a hoax the whole time. The officer told the supervisor, he said, are you ready for this? This shit was a hoax. This dumb bitch assumed somehow that this guy escaped from their facility. Now, don't get me wrong, fam. I understand the severity of a prison break. I understand that. However, I also understand there are certain protocols in place when something like this happens. One would be placing the prison on lockdown while also doing a physical head count. Well, instead of these officers simply detaining the guy, they had the opportunity because the guy was not resisting. The dog ran right past the goddamn guy. When the first officer made contact with this man, he was not moving. Now, you could have safely detained this guy for about 15, 20 minutes while you investigated. But because police officers are obviously trained to be excessive, irrational, unprofessional, entitled, and immune, decided to go hands-on immediately, cuffing and stuffing the guy. And shortly after, you see the female officer who issued this bogus "be on the lookout" come into the frame and tell this guy that I asked you a question and you took off running. The guy responded saying, bitch, I don't want to talk to you. I didn't have to talk to you. She's going, okay then, okay then, okay then. Well, we figured out what that okay then meant. That meant that we're going to trump your ass up on a bunch of charges anyway then. Okay then. Take this evading arrest charge with you. Arrest for what? There is no evading arrest. Nothing warranted an initial arrest. However, the district attorney of Galveston doubled down by signing off on an arrest affidavit, which means, obviously, if the facts are clear, and they are, obviously, this was an attempt to cover up a civil rights violation. However, when the guy faced the judge, the charges were dismissed. And I can almost guarantee you, when this story hit the news and this guy was released, man, he probably had lawyers chasing him down. He ain't even had to have a damn cell phone. They found him. And now the guy has a lawsuit filed against the Texas Department of Corrections and the UT police. So if you have government officials doubling down on cover-ups, then hey fam, I would suggest you get on that money train. All it takes to purchase your ticket is to pull up your cam, push your record button, and follow me. We'll see you in the next city, fam. Salute. And this nigga here crazy than the motherfucker. Always trying to get something for nothing.
Six.